Good things come in fours. Like ukulele strings. Boy band members. And PayPal Pay in 4. No fees, no interest, no impact on your credit score. Just the flexibility to pay the way that works for you. Strum it, hum it, pay it in 4. Download the PayPal app to get started. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payin4. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Game 2, NBA Finals tonight. We got a question up on our Facebook page. Jalen Brunson. How did he last until the second round? What happened? Who goofed? How did they goof? Why didn't people see this coming? PK, do you think to a certain degree a lot of the rules that we have known, if not rules, but at least the guidelines to what works in the NBA changing dramatically, the history and the tradition and the patterns that told us what happened for a long time are going to tell us as much going forward with the three-point shot? Is there going to be room for more variation from the norm here? Because if you can hit the three, you can swing a game or a series.
Well, I think that might have been the case now for a number of years. I don't know that it's something totally brand new.
5 or 10, you think?
I mean, Kyle Korver was in the league for that very reason. That, and he was extremely good looking.
Thank you, Ashton Kutcher.
So I think it was a discrimination with Jalen Brunson. They just looked at him and he was too short. He didn't look the size. So they had in their mind of what it's supposed to be, and he didn't fit that prototype. But he still was drafted. I mean, I think he was drafted like third in the second round or something like that, which his level of talent, obviously, and his level of impact and success far supersedes where he was drafted. It's not the first time, and it probably won't be the last time. And for whatever reason, there's other guys that fell. Jeff Hornacek, what position was he? What was he, a point? Not really. Was he a two? Oh my man, look at him. He looks like a weakling. Like he can barely lift, do a bench press of 100 pounds, let alone 200 pounds. Well, he found his way in the league and was extremely successful for a second round pick, right? It does happen. It's just that they don't fit, and the draft is, what is the surest thing? What are you looking for? What can you count on? Kevin O'Connor talking about Paul Millsap. If you have a skill like rebounding, that can translate. Well, why did Millsap last so stinking long? Because he was shorter for the position. The measurables didn't equate to what you're looking at. But sure enough, Paul Millsap had one of the, obviously for the Jazz in terms of a draft pick, most likely the best second round pick. Hornacek, they didn't draft him, but he flourished here to the point his jersey's retired, and I think Russell was a second round pick too, wasn't he? And he had a phenomenal career for a second round pick. So you get to that situation from Jalen Brunson, and he was underestimated. What I'm hoping can happen is maybe you can look beyond the negatives, and that's what Locke seems to. When he talks about DeBonsa, the first 5 things are what he can't do. Right? I mean, you can't argue that. I mean, he'll tell you all that, and all those things are legitimate. And yeah, and I agree with him 100% that if you're looking for the most skilled player in a draft, it is Darren Peterson. Absolutely, I agree. I think it's obvious, and I'm a DeBonsa guy. I feel like I'm a homer for DeBonsa in a sense because I'm hearing a lot of what he can't do, and let's face it, when the general consensus of opinion is to go A, I'm going to find a way to go B. We all know that.
But this is a good time. But this is a good time for you to do it because every year we get, here's the top 2, 3, 4, 5 players, whatever is in the draft. And every year, those players go, the consensus isn't that far off, and then someone's a spectacular bust. Or someone underachieves, or usually both. And you go back, there are very few drafts where it's like great player, very good player, good player, good player. Like, okay, nobody whiffed, they got the top 4, and they got them in order. It doesn't happen that way. So this whole consensus of opinion is out there. I got 25 years of history that says it's jacked up. Why is this suddenly going to be right this year? Is this year so deep that you can't miss? I mean, they are talking about this is one of the best drafts, and we're talking about the top 4 because the Jazz are drafting 2. But if you read about the teams drafting 6, 7, 8, they all think there's going to be a really good player there. And that's why we had 10 teams tanking, because they all thought they could get a good player 6, 7, 8. So maybe this is this draft, I don't know, foolproof, idiot-proof, bust-proof. I don't know what the phrase is, but it's like maybe it's just that good. But that's not what drafts usually are. There's someone in there like what's the old Sesame Street thing? Which of these players just doesn't belong, right? And they have 4 choices on the screen. You watch that with your kids recently?
Oh, I watched it all growing up.
Oh, you saw growing up, yeah.
One of these things not like the other. One of these things doesn't
Okay,
belong.
guys, don't. I am really put off if somebody sings on the air. I mean,
You
Nice. Oh, okay. Can we put this to
let's just stop
Come on,
that
let's
right
sing
now.
Maggie May. We got
Can we go to a
Rod
vote?
Stewart tickets.
Can we
He's
go
a
to a
legend.
vote? Let's go
Let's
to a
go.
vote.
I mean, that's why I don't do it. You know, the people, and you two are
Why you
over there
don't do
singing
it. Got
nursery
it.
rhymes. I mean, it's just, it's unbecoming. I don't know. How else to say it.
Becoming. Words I didn't expect to hear this morning. Unbecoming.
Ain't
I
no
can't say
better
that-
time than now for Mexico.
Oh, that's true.
All right, let's have a
no
game right
shoes, no shirt, and no problem.
Well, I mean, if you're an accomplished singer, if we have Pavarotti on the show, we're not going to say, "Don't sing, big guy."
I'm
You
on
know what
the
I mean?
highway to hell. Don't
It doesn't
stop
mean-
me.
You went to college to do this.
Not true. I went to ASU.
Hey-oh.
There's going to be levels of disappointment. Maybe not bust. Bust is a strong word. Bust is, it's inarguable if you're a bust, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have levels of success if you want to go to the positive. If you want to go like me to the negative, levels of disappointment. I don't think the Jazz are going to get a bust. I would be shocked if they got, unless there was some injury issues, you know, something that you cannot control. But all things being equal right now, I don't see them getting a bust. Levels of success, well, that's an empty sheet of paper. That's a blank canvas because none of these guys have done it at the pro level. And it's going to take some time, right? We'll see. But I don't think they're going to get a Cantor or an Exum. Now, I think those guys were busts for different reasons. With Exum, we never really got to know because the kid couldn't catch a break.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he would have been something special. Maybe he wouldn't be. I don't know. We'll never know. Cantor, he's into all this other stuff. You know, somebody had told me high up in the Jazz organization that they had to get Okur to try to talk to the kid to grow up. Because he wanted to be too goofy.
And he could score and rebound. He had no interest in defending.
Yeah.
He was a wooden gate on hinges. Blow right through.
Yeah, and other things sidetracked him. It's interesting to see where his life has gone now with this, the way he's been an activist in a sense. That I didn't expect that, but so be it. Whatever. That's certainly his right to do that. The player for the Jazz, they're going to get a productive player. Will they get the most productive player when we get to 2032? Who knows? Right now, it looks like Peterson is the surest bet, and Locke is going strong with Washington. If I'm Washington, yeah, I strongly consider it. To me, when we had Getzeiler on last week, and he's talking about Sam Mitchell signing off on the kid, that was a powerful endorsement because Mitchell doesn't really gain anything by it. And I don't think Mitchell, an NBA player, NBA coach, is going to finagle and have an agenda to tell people different things. I think he's going to speak honestly from what he's been able to see and observe. And that's a powerful recommendation because you're getting one of your own vouching for the kid. We can all see his talent. I mean, you don't need to be a basketball expert to see his talent. You just have to have a working knowledge of the sport. And it's, wow, okay, this kid's got an enormous talent. And Mitchell signs off on it, and maybe that's good enough for Washington. Fine. So be it. How about this? The Jazz, they trade up, but they trade up to get Peterson. That would be a shocker.
It would be. I think if they trade up, it seems like a lot of that talk is cool. There's just general acknowledgement that the Wizards have the number one pick, and they've struggled for so long. They need the credibility of the market of bringing in the number one pick. They're going to overcharge anyone to move up there. And these other players are so well thought of. Why would another team do that? Why would they overpay to move up when they can get a pretty good player, drafting 2, drafting 3, whatever?
They don't want a pretty good player. Maybe they want the best player.
And that's why it could still happen, because someone is so committed to one guy. So it could still happen, and these things don't usually happen, what are we, like 3 weeks out from the draft now? They don't usually happen this far out. It's usually something that the talk will start a couple days before the draft. Something will leak, and there'll be speculation, and then it'll happen draft night if it happens. It's not going to happen now.
No, it's not. It's too early. It'll be within probably a 72-hour range when we'll start to get the momentum on that thing, and we'll see. But if the Jazz, this even bothers me to say it, if they have to take DeBonsa, I don't understand how we're evaluating him as a finished product.
Okay, number one, they don't have to take DeBonsa. They get to.
But you get my point.
I do get your point. But when you're drafting number 2, especially with this much talent, you get to draft whoever. If they have the same thoughts that David Locke has, you don't have to take him. Don't take him. Have the courage of your conviction and take whoever you believe in. Boozer would probably be the next name up. But hey, if you want to do something unorthodox and drop deeper, everything. We'll judge it by whether the guy plays or not and whether he helps them win. And if you lose the press conference, so what? Go win games. And then the story writes itself. Pick the guy you believe in. Don't go in thinking I have to draft player X. You don't.
Yeah.
You get to. Whoever you pick, whoever it turns out to be, whether you move up or move down, you get to.
And, we've been hearing that Will Hardy is this really, really good coach, and they can develop guys. All right. I'm giving you a product. Go develop them then. Go put him in the situations where he succeeds. We know that a couple of predecessors before him, there's a guy named Jerry Sloan who was a master at that.
Yeah.
As far as putting guys in, what can you do? Not what you can't do, but what can you do and how can I maximize that? And go do that. And if DeBonsa can't do this or this right now, well, then let's see what he can do and put him in that situation where he is. I'm a little hesitant with DeBonsa because he's our guy, our local guy, of just making these judgments based on what I saw this season, because I don't know that he'll ever be in the situation that he was last year again at the NBA level, because he's going to play with far better players. Even if guys are injured, they're not going to be decimated. BYU's roster in retrospect was so friggin' flawed, even without the injuries. Then the injuries made it beyond flawed. And that's why they had a disappointing season. They got bounced in the first round because it was DeBonsa and Rob and then nothing, literally nothing else. And it was all a bunch of new guys, basically, and they didn't know what they were doing. And then sure enough, they basically, all of them took off and
look where they landed
to succeed.
And look where they landed.
Yeah.
They didn't go to marquee programs. There weren't powerhouses beating down the door to get these guys.
Right. And I'm not going to crack on Kevin Young because I think he has to learn too. I don't care how great he was. Kevin Young in year 2 was not a finished product as a college basketball coach. and we'll see his level of improvement based on his experience and understanding of what works and how the college game, which are all new rules now anyway, or all no rules, as Todd Phillips basically told us, and away you go. So that's the stuff that these experts, Ainges and Jay-Z and all these other folks there that are working, and when they put the product on across the street, they'll be able to see this is what we did, why we did it. So I don't think they can really go wrong, but there is a possibility that they don't go as right as they could. And they know that too. And that's what they got to figure out. And the fact that I said earlier with the payroll, they're going to have a payroll next year that's expected to win. So that adds a little more intrigue into it.
It does. But I think with these draft picks, well, at least I can only speak for myself, but I think what most people expect, and certainly what I expect, is that these guys are paid big time for 3 years. And they're going to have turnover and have to break up the roster. At Ace Bailey, as a 5 pick, and whoever they use this 2 pick on, they should be, as these other guys get older and get too expensive or get too old or have injuries, whatever, these 2 become the foundation you want to build around. So as much as you want them to be good and contribute in the next year or two, and certainly I do, the bigger test is, are you the foundation to build around in 4 or 5 years? Are you a role player and they're looking for other foundational players? Are you just struggling to stay on the team in the league and you've been a big disappointment? Tell me where you're going to be, because the guys are getting paid $50 million. They're going to be expected to carry the freight as long as they're on the team, right? They got 3 years left on their deal.
You're only going to lose one of those guys. You're not going to necessarily lose both of them.
There's a very good case to be made for that. But nonetheless, you're going to need pillars.
Oh, I agree. So
and that's what I expect these guys to be.
Marketing as an example. I'm not saying I want him gone and all that stuff. No, I'm not saying that at all. But he's the one, because he's the oldest of the group. Mm-hmm. So you get rid of him, well, then you have, whether it's DeBonsa, Boozer, Bailey, George, whoever it might be, you have those guys, one of those guys or multiple guys, replace what marketing gave you. Right? Mm-hmm. And then you continue to go.
Yeah. And maybe
to me, the future looks extremely bright, even when they're up against the payroll issues.
There's multiple paths forward here. When I can say these 2 should be the pillars, but there's a chance they're not. Maybe one of these guys is the 3rd or 4th best. They still did a good job picking them and develop them, but they're not.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, right. But maybe when it's time and one of the $50 million guys has to be flipped, you get somebody who is the pillar. I mean, who's to say, right? How did Brunson get to New York? How did Doncic get to L.A.? I mean, stuff happens that you would never predict 5 years ago looking at the Mavericks, and yet here we are. So who's to say? I mean, the SGA trade, nobody knew he was going to blow up, but he did. I mean, who's to say? 3-5 years down the road, stuff can change. But
yes, it can.
You get to pick 2, so get a really good piece of the puzzle. And I care about the short term, but I care more about the long term.
Yeah, but
I think the short term takes care of itself.
You're paying money. You got to get results relative to the level of money that you've got. I don't think you can blow it off that way. I go 50-50.
Okay, well, I mean, I can't really argue with you want it all. Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? Why back away from really high expectations right now?
Yeah, I'm going to give Kessler big money. He has to produce big time.
Totally agree.
And Jackson, Triple J, and Lowry are already making big money.
Yep.
These guys got to produce immediately. Immediately.
That's the expectation. That's why we're talking about 45, 50 wins. Some people are talking about more than that. That's why we're talking about not just getting to the playoffs, but can you win a series when you get there? Now, winning 2 means beating the Thunder or Spurs or taking advantage of them getting upset in the first round. So good luck with that. That's a high bar. But first things first, can you get to 45? Can you get to 50? Can you get to more than that? And can you win a playoff series? Get to the top 6. Don't see the Thunder and Spurs in the first round. Beat somebody else.
All of a sudden, to me, and maybe I'm not looking at it clearly because the Thunder had injuries that I'm not accounting for, but it doesn't seem like beating the Thunder is that outrageous.
It'd be a great accomplishment. They will be a very good team next year. They will be a very good team. And the Spurs got him, and they got him in 7, and they had the injuries. But, man, the Thunder went through the Suns and Lakers and nothing flat. bang, bang, sweep, sweep. I mean, they're very good, and they're not going to be bad next year. Doesn't mean they'll be the champs. Doesn't mean they can't be beaten. But if the Jazz somehow do that Dell Center ought to be rocking because that's an accomplishment.
Just to play with them.
Yeah.
To be on the floor with them in the playoffs.
And if that happens, then Danny Ainge and Austin Ainge and Will Hardy and Jay-Z and Ryan and everybody, there ought to be a massive sense of accomplishment if that gets pulled off. That'll be cool. And then we'll immediately turn around and expect more. Okay, that was cool. Well, now you ought to win the next series if you can do that, whoever the next series is.
Sure.
But nonetheless, they had to walk off the court freaking beaming if they pull that off. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. When we come back, everything you missed in this show and one new thing. Something just happened. They just announced it during the show. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
Look, private equity doesn't like to add costs. They like to limit costs because they have a bottom line that they have to hit. I just hate when you've got somebody who has been working in the marketing department forever or who's been a sports information director forever, and they're doing their job and they're busting their butt and they're trying to tell good stories, and those are the guys that are going to get affected.
And to me, it's just a direct response to BYU having all the money they need at their disposal, a built-in way to fund the program. There's nothing about this deal that screams win to me. I don't like the feeling of it. You know, Matt Hayes summed it up best at the end of his article. He said, this is the same Utah Athletic Department that wanted so badly to push out football coach Kyle Whittingham at the end of a 10-win season, but was willing to pay him $13.5 million over the next 2 years to do so.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Time to get you up to speed on everything you missed in this show. The news breaking during the show, Real Salt Lake Xavier Gozo has been named to the 2026 MLS All-Star team. The first 11, a starter, PK. Leo Messi. Hani Mukhtar, Xavier Gozo, Sebastian Berhalter. There's a lot of guys going to the World Cup here. A lot of guys making a lot of money. And then there's the teenager who's not making a lot of money from Eagle Mountain. But there he is.
How long?
Xavier Gozo.
How long?
For how long, right? How long before he makes a lot of money and plays somewhere else? That is the question. Now, he didn't get named to the World Cup. Okay, that's disappointing if you want your guy on your favorite team to go to the World Cup.
19
yes,
years old.
But the age, he hadn't been with the team. He's blowing up at the end of last year, the start of this year, and you know the cast of characters is pretty much set. There was some thought maybe he'd sneak it in the end, but he doesn't. But now he doesn't get to show his stuff on the world stage, which would be an opportunity to drive that price up and make yourself more marketable in the bigger leagues with more money around the world. So maybe in a way that goes towards keeping him here. Maybe not. Maybe someone has already got their eye on him. It's a little bit like the draft. Nothing happens until it happens, and there's a whole dance around how much money are they going to demand for him, how much is someone willing to be paid, will they come to a deal? So it's like it's a lot like Austin Ainge saying we don't know who we're going to pick. Well, if you had to pick tonight, you would, and you have a pretty good idea. But since you have more time, you're going to take more time and do more research. They're not to the summer transfer window yet. They probably have an idea what teams might be offering and what they might be accepting, but nothing's set till you get there. And they use the phrase Wild West just like Todd Phillips does.
He reminds me of the 3 weeks that Mike Trout played for the Bees.
I see the comparison there. This guy's going places. Enjoy it now because it's not. He's not here for a long time.
Right. But he's here for a good time. That's a great George Strait song.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. He is here for a good time. It has been a good time watching him score goals and pile up assists. But you also know, well, that's inevitably going to lead to him going somewhere. And the only question is this summer, in the winter, or next summer? I can't imagine it's later than that. I can't. Maybe we'll be sitting here and I'll be amazed he'll be here 18 more months, but it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, don't be sad that it's over. Be glad that it happened.
Right. There it is. There it is. The All-Star game that he's been named to is July 29th in Charlotte. So after the World Cup, they'll have that. All right, PK, we spent some time being amazed at the end of Stanley Cup final game number 2. It was 2-0 Vegas. Carolina was coming to life. You could start to feel the desperation and the energy, and they were starting to, it felt like something might happen. But it was 2-0, 10 minutes through the third period. And then 5 goals, 2 power plays, a goal waved off, chaos, a challenge. There was... You didn't know it sitting on the couch right then, but there was a lot that was about to happen.
Oh, yeah. If you just watched that last portion, as you say, you came away highly entertained because there was enough action and intensity and nervousness on behalf of the Carolina franchise and its fan base in the arena and probably wherever they were watching that you can sense it like, oh my gosh, man, they got to get going here. And then he did. And there was a little bit of controversy with a changed overruled goal, blah, blah, blah. And then just the last minute or so of regulation, and then it was very quick in overtime. How many minutes was it?
4,
I don't remember.
Roughly 4.
Is that what it was? I thought it was 5. Yeah. So I mean, just in that 6-7 minute time frame, which was there was an intermission involved there. I understand that you saw enough, and it was. I just like the dichotomy and the opposite natures of the final 2 goals, and one which was at least 1 or 2 ricochets. And as Stone puts it in and he goes nuts. And then Seth Jarvis, kid's only 24 years old. I looked it up. And to see him just wind up and just throw a laser, my gosh, that was just awesome. You get in the way of that. We saw one of the players get hit in the face. That was ugly. But to think that the speed on that shot and the way he wound up was really cool.
Huge win for Carolina because it ties the series 1-1. And I think probably the proposal I've heard that puts the most pressure on teams that we haven't seen yet is anytime they talk about a change to a playoff structure where the higher seeded team gets to pick the opponent. I always think, man, that'd be really cool to talk about, right? That'd be great for sports talk radio. It'd be great for social media. It'd put a ton of pressure on a team to have to decide, okay, we want this team, we want that team. And then, of course, you're sending the message, right? Oh, they think we suck. They think we're the easy opponent. And then another team gets all fired up. That, to me, would be the highest stakes decision. But right behind that, man, in hockey, when you challenge and if you're wrong, you give away a power play. And in this case, they had to decide to challenge the goal Vegas scored to take the lead 3-2 with 5 minutes to go. On the ice, they wave it off. Vegas decides to challenge, knowing full well if they win the challenge, they take a 3-2 lead. But if they lose the challenge, it's 2-2 and they're on a power play. And sure enough, they give them they lose the challenge and they got to take a 2-minute delay game penalty. And then Carolina scores and takes the lead on the power play. That is high-stakes stuff. That is a lot of pressure on that decision. It's a lot easier for an NBA coach to signal review and lose a timeout.
Yeah, but I wonder, too, do they take that if they're down 0-1? They're up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, I think all those things factor in. And what would they have done? I don't know. I mean, once I saw it, I thought, why did they decide to challenge that? That seemed like a classic, whatever gets called in the moment is going to stand up. I mean, we see that in football, the call on the field. In basketball, the call on the court. Here's the call on the ice. It didn't seem like there was anything definitive. And it did, even though you couldn't quite see, but all the angles suggested, yeah, he was laying on the puck and someone started jamming the stick underneath him until they wedged the thing loose.
Yeah,
which doesn't seem safe, and he's in the crease. They get the ice dyed the color, the blue, then, yeah.
But yet at the same time, they really didn't – you can argue that they – who's to say that Carolina wouldn't have scored anyway?
No,
they got the couple of goals. Then Vegas comes back right at the end.
When they score on the power play, the immediate assumption is, well, there's the winning goal. And back to my earlier point, you don't know. There's still a power play for Vegas to come, and they don't cash in, and then they pull a goaltender, and they do cash in, and then in overtime, as you described it, the laser, one time. There's still a lot to go. Yeah, and you're right. Something else could have happened. I mean, obviously, stuff was happening every 2 minutes. It was
the nature of the sport. You could have 2 or 3 goals in the span of 2 minutes.
Yep. So they play Game 3 tomorrow night. They go to Las Vegas. Puck drops at T-Mobile, 6 o'clock on ABC tomorrow night. Tonight, it's Game 2 of the NBA Finals. The Knicks win Game 1. Can they repeat it in Game 2? There's so many things that could change, PK. Everything looks definitive in the moment, but don't be a prisoner of the moment. The Knicks may win a different way, or something could go wrong. I mean, putting Karl Anthony Towns on Victor Wembanyama, and he had 4 fouls, but he didn't really get in foul trouble. And he had a really good game. Is he going to shoot the ball poorly, get exhausted at the defensive end? Is he going to get in foul trouble? Even if he does, will somebody else step in and defend well? Does Wemby go off and put a 30-10 game together? Does Fox hit shots? Because he didn't. There's a lot of ifs. There could be a lot of twists to this plot line tonight.
Yeah, I want to see Wembanyama get touches deeper in the offensive set, closer to the basket. And it's cool that he can shoot threes, and that's great. But I can get a 6'4" guy to do that too. Now take advantage of what he has to offer. But this playoff in its entirety has been one of the more unpredictable ones, right? We think Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma City loses the first game. Oh no, but then they win. Then they go and they win in San Antonio. They go up 2-1. Then they go up 3-2. And you're thinking, all right, and they've reestablished themselves, but no and no. And we've had 2-7 games on the road. The same thing with the Cleveland and Detroit series. They're not in the finals. I understand that. But that was, you're thinking, okay, now it's going to go in this direction, and it doesn't. There's a reversal, and Cleveland does what it does. And then who expects Cleveland then to get swept? I would have bet a lot of cash that Cleveland wins at least one, and especially one. And I'm thinking, oh, my. If I would have bet $10,000, say, all you need to do is to win Cleveland win one game, and you'll get 100,000. So I got 10-1 odds, right? And I'm sitting there in the first game, and it is in the fourth quarter.
You're thinking you're ready to collect your money.
I'm looking sweet. And yet it doesn't happen. I mean, come on, man. It's crazy. So I'm expecting nothing in terms of, well, this is going to happen because this already happened. No, I want to see it. And that's the part of what makes it fun is I'm going to turn it on tonight. All right. What do you got? What is going to happen? What am I going to see? And I could come away at the end of the game thinking, wow, that's really surprising. Or man, maybe the Knicks are just that good. You start winning 13 games in a row in the playoff and 8 games on the road. How many times has that been done? You're a history guy, man. You got to think, wow, now it's time. And don't forget, Jalen Brunson, this is the best free agent signing of all times. First of all, that's how I see it. That's Charles Barkley, the best free agent signing of all time.
After what? Which ones did he rule out? Durant and somebody else.
LeBron.
Oh, yeah, LeBron. It's the best of all time, except for those two. Wait a minute.
Durant and somebody else, and that somebody else is LeBron.
I couldn't remember who it was because I was thinking Shaq, and he didn't say Shaq. And when he said it, when I heard it the first time, I was waiting for him to put Shaq in there. It's kind of a good get by the Lakers.
Sure. Yeah, well, you can't take away the top two and then say it's the
best of all time. That was epic. That just
automatically you're saying it's the third best.
I know.
But that's Barkley. He talks in circles.
Yep.
He thinks he's profound, and really he is an entertainer. And
I was entertained.
Don't try to be profound because that's not your way. You're funny and play to your strengths.
What we've had here in this playoff is this is the 15th and final playoff series. Do you know how many Game 7s we've had this year? I mean, there have been so many, I had to look it up. I couldn't even count them all.
11.
5.
7.
5 Game 7s. And at the same time, we've had 4 sweeps. It's been feast or famine.
Yeah, well, you get sweeps in the earlier rounds. That's to be expected.
We've had a sweep in every round, though.
Right, but the majority of them is going to be earlier. And that sweep in the conference final was a big-time surprise. 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and then 1 in the third. I never expect a sweep.
Yeah. When will we see Aaron Judge at the plate mashing a baseball 400 feet again? He's got a stress fracture in his ribs. He's out indefinitely, undergo imaging to determine how much he has healed in 4 to 6 weeks. So in the All-Star, right around the All-Star break, we'll get an update. But who knows what that update will be? That isn't necessarily, hey, we'll see you next week.
No. That's a significant blow.
And the Diamondbacks got a significant blow, didn't they? 431 feet. That's a shot. Majestic.
Yeah, they split with the Dodgers. Now, Ohtani, they did not play. How would you like, or he did not play. How would you like to go to the ballpark last night expecting to see Ohtani and he does not play? Ooh.
Don't like it, but on the other hand, I'm not expecting guys to play 162 either.
Oh, I understand that. But there was one time that when I was living here in Utah and I went during Big 12 or maybe Pac-12 media, or maybe it was even before that. Utah might have been in the WAC or Mountain West, I should say. And I just took the fam down to go to a Dodger game and I got tickets and Piazza didn't play. Okay, well, I get it. He's a catcher. He didn't play every game, but I was at that game.
Yeah. Looks like Shohei's played 57 games. They played 63. So he's basically playing 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and it was the day after he pitched in which he was on base 5 times and threw 6 innings. So I get it. Yeah, I understand that. I mean,
is it more a mental thing, though? Because he's DHing. So it's not, he's not going to run a lot if they DH him. But I guess that goes back to the mental part. He just needs a day off.
Well, I think that it is, it's a situation where it's they're not trying to win every game. We talk about tanking where you're trying to lose every game, but aside from the NFL, there are plenty of times where in basketball, baseball, they're not trying to win. They may not be trying to lose, but they're not necessarily trying to win the way they normally would, but we overlooked that.
My Padres are done with your Phillies, and it's about time since we're 0 for 6 and got outscored 22-11. Got swept again twice in 2 weeks. That was a good time.
Yeah, Machado going off, but then he said, hey, we'll get it. It's so long. They still have 100 games or so to play, so obviously they got one more season ahead of them than they do behind, and they do have some proven commodities, so I guess we'll have to see. But, they were flying. They were like the Cubs in a sense. They were flying high for a while, and now they've come on hard times.
Manny Machado's below the Mendoza line. He's hitting 174. I'm not surprised he's upset.
Yeah, his power numbers are not that bad, though. But
he has 11 home runs. He's got 11 homers. Yeah. So, all right, DJ and PK, it's 97. Although I'm looking at his slugging percentage now, it is below 400. That's not good. All right, DJ and PK, when we come back, your feedback next. Explanations, Jalen Brunson. Why was he a second-round draft pick? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Good things come in 4s. Like ukulele strings. Boy band members. And PayPal Pay in 4. No fees, no interest, no impact on your credit score. Just the flexibility to pay the way that works for you. Strum it, hum it, pay it in 4. Download the PayPal app to get started. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payin4. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Time for your feedback. Question of the morning. Austin H. says the Jazz do not yet have a general consensus of opinion on the player to draft and the number 2 pick. Sound about right with 3 weeks to go? Don, are they ever going to reach consensus? I mean, you have an owner who literally invested in AJ and a scout who's very invested in Boozer, and then you have the fact that Peterson's probably the best player. It's a rough call, and you're never going to have 100% agreement on it. Well, we've heard about those scenarios before. You try to build consensus, and at the end, if you don't have consensus, the person in charge makes a pick. There you go.
Okay, who's in charge then?
Bum, bum, bum. Austin goes to make the pick, and Danny slaps his hand away.
Well, Ryan Smith has said many times, if there's a strong feeling by these guys, I'm going with these guys. And that's great. But has there ever been an owner in this situation where a kid is playing at your school and he chose to go to your school which is way unusual to begin with. And the way he's represented the faith about as well as anybody who's not of the faith, right? I think we can agree with that, with the way he's embraced it and talked about taking a Book of Mormon class. And there was video of him touring the temple and one of the open houses and all that stuff. So everybody feels good about his respect for it. And that's your alma mater. And you have, at least at some level, contributed. This is a crazy confluence of situations. If it comes to that DeBonce's on the board wherever the Jazz draft, what do they do? What does he do? Because at that moment, Ryan Smith, that's the moment of truth. Do I interject myself? Or maybe he doesn't have to. Maybe the folks that he has empowered say, we're going with him. And he says, yeah, great. But if they don't, does he get in the way of them, overrule them? I don't think it'll come to that. And I'm creating a scenario that I don't think will actually play out. But just for radio's sake, that's sort of fascinating.
But it's a scenario that's happened in other times in other places.
Not to this level.
Okay, but it's always a big deal when it happens at the level you're at, right? I mean, it's happened with the Jazz over a pick, 13, pick 20. There wasn't I've heard the story. There wasn't unity between Frank and Scott over Karl Malone.
Well,
and he was
right,
sliding, and they couldn't figure out why. Well, it was because they hadn't been lied to. That's why. Everybody in front of him got lied to by Karl's college coach. He was mad that Karl was leaving, and they hadn't, and they were trying to figure it out in real time. And in that situation, from what I've heard, Frank's just like, Scott, you've done the homework, make the pick, but this doesn't make any sense. And then later on, they went back because they wanted to know, and they eventually found out. And Scott did the right thing. Scott said, my homework says we should pick him, so they did. And it turned out to be the right call.
Bravo.
But, man, in the moment, are you sure?
But they don't have that personal – they had no personal connection.
The personal connection is an interesting twist. You don't usually get to spend this much time with someone in college before you have a chance to draft them in the pros and have them this well thought of in this deep a draft. You're right. It's an unusual confluence of events here.
And he's a, quote, local kid?
Yeah. Zachary says, Austin sounds like an Ainge doing business. Nice.
Oh, he is. There's no question about that. He's a savvy guy. I think the world of Austin Ainge. I got no problem saying that.
Michael says consensus. They may never have that. Who's in charge? Maybe that's what it comes down to at the end. And Austin did say, Danny and I argue about players every day. That's where they got a little jersey in him. And I know Danny's actually an Oregon guy, right? But he's got a little jersey in him. I mean,
they spent a lot of time in Boston, the Northeast.
They love that. And when he says players, it's not just these players. It's veterans on their roster, veterans on other rosters, guys who are going to be pick 20 and pick 30.
As a fan, I want that. I want them to be debating left and right, back and forth, up and down. That's how you're going to get more knowledge. Well, I love debating with Locke whether DeBonce is good enough or not. I mean, come on. I mean,
get the deep dive, get the juices flowing, figure more stuff out.
I'm not going to think otherwise unless I hear from somebody whom I respect.
We're going to the summer games next. Scotty G and the coach taking over after the break from Cedar City. Stay with us.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Good things come in fours. Like ukulele strings. Boy band members. And PayPal Pay in 4. No fees, no interest, no impact on your credit score. Just the flexibility to pay the way that works for you. Strum it, hum it, pay it in 4. Download the PayPal app to get started. Subject to approval. Learn more at paypal.com/payin4. PayPal Inc. NMLS 910457.